Hi everyone. Today we are going to see the introduction to Python. So before jumping into Python, we will see what is an operating system. So an operating system acts as an interface between an end user and the user application. Okay. An operating system acts as an interface between the end user and the user application. Then what is a kernel? Kernel acts as an interface between the user application and the hardware. So operating system acts as an interface between end user and the user application, and kernel acts as an interface between user application and the hardware. So the end user applications, okay, application can be Facebook, Gmail, your Python, whatever it can be. So between your end user and applications, you will be having your operating system. Okay. Now end user talks to applications through operating system, and applications talk to the kernel, and kernel talks to the hardware. That means kernel is in between the applications and the hardware. So that is the main difference between an operating system and the kernel. Next, so what is a program? So a program is a set of instructions to be executed by a computer to perform a task. So that is a program. So for adding two numbers, you can write a program. For multiplication, you can write a program. Or for doing a complex task, you can write a program. Okay. So where this program will be? The program will be in your secondary memory. Okay. What are some examples of a program? Since we are talking about Python, so let us take Python only. So in Python, you will be having a .py file. So just like how you write .txt file for a text file, in the same way for Python you will be having a .py file. Okay, all your Python programs will be written in .py file. So once you write your program, you need to execute it. So then only you will be getting the output. For executing your program must be in the main memory. Okay, then only it gets executed by the CPU. So the program under execution is called a process. Okay, a program under execution is called a process. So your program will be in the secondary memory. Okay, whereas a process will be in the main memory. A program just requires your hard disk, secondary memory, but process requires main memory, CPU utilization, and some type input and output. So as we discussed earlier, a program is a list of instructions to be given to a computer to perform a task. So you can write a program in a high level language, assembly level language, machine level language. What is a high level language? If your language enables you to write code in a user understandable format, then that language is said to be high level language. I mean, if you are able to write code in a user understandable format, then that language is called high level language. Then when can you say the code that you have written is platform independent? So if you are able to write code in one machine, and if you are able to run that particular code anywhere else, okay, any other computer across the world, then that particular code is said to be platform independent. Okay, so if a language enables you to write code in one machine, and run that particular code anywhere else, okay, then that language is said to be platform independent. So we learned few things like high level language and what is platform independent code and all. We will see the differences between high level language and machine level language. So high level language is easy to understand because it is in human readable format, okay. Machine language is difficult to understand because it will be in the form of zeros and ones, and it is in machine readable format, okay. Execution time will be comparatively slower in case of high level language because your high level language cannot be understood by the machine. It needs to be converted into machine language. So there is some time consumption. So now we are able to understand few things like what is a platform independent code, what is a high level language, what is a machine level language. With these things, I think now we can define Python. So Python is a high level language. It is also a interpreted language. So interpretation in the sense here the execution of your code happens line by line, okay. So let us say you have a code of 100 lines and there is an error at 99th line. So code will be executed for the first 98 lines without any error, but execution stops at the 99th line, okay. That is what interpretation is all about, and during this interpretation phase only your code which is written in high level language gets translated into machine code. It is general purpose language also. General purpose in the sense it can be, Python can be used in various application domains like web development, machine learning, data science, automation, testing, so on, okay. Python is also object oriented programming language. I mean, for now, we will skip what is object oriented and all. We will be talking about this concept later. And Python is also open source. That means it is free of cost, and you can develop your applications using Python. You can redistribute them, okay, without any cost. That is all about Python. Now, why Python shines? Python is easy to learn. Earlier we discussed that using high level languages you can write user understandable code, and among all the high level languages Python is more easier to learn, and Python requires comparatively less number of lines of code to perform a task when compared to other languages. Yes, that is correct. So the number of lines that are required to complete a task are far more less in case of Python. Okay. Next, since the number of lines that are required are less, that means your development time will be also less. So within short span of time, you can complete your project. That is the reason you can realize and implement your ideas quickly using Python. Python has amazing built-in data structures. So what is a data structure? Data structure is nothing but a set of data and the operations to be performed on the data. Okay, it's a collection of data and operations to be performed on that particular data. So that is called a data structure. So Python has amazing built-in data structures. We will talk about data structures later. Okay. Next, Python has good community support. There are far more best programming languages than Python, but why Python is shining is like it has good community support, good and active community support. Problem with some languages is like they don't have active community support. So that is why they don't have that much demand. So if there are any product related bugs in Python, so those bugs will be fixed in the coming releases. And also Python has vast library support. That means before you develop a new feature, you can actually check if that feature is already implemented in some library. Okay, so that you can reuse that particular library instead of reinventing the wheel. Python can be used as a glue language. That means let us take there are two systems. One system is built using Java and another system built using Python. So you can actually establish communication between these two systems using Python. You can actually call code written in Java from a Python file. Okay, so that is why it is called a glue language. And one more thing, earlier we said that when we defined Python, we called it is a general purpose programming language because it can be used in various application domains like data science, machine learning, web development, automation, testing, integrating systems. Now we will see interpretation in Python. So earlier we said like for translating the high level language code into machine level language, we need an interpreter, right? So we will talk about that particular process here. You have a .py file. Okay, now that .py file will be interpreted by your interpreter. Okay, there are different kinds of interpreter, but here we are talking about a particular interpreter called CPython. Okay, so inside your interpreter you have a compiler. Okay, so Python file gets compiled and it will produce a bytecode, but not every time. I repeat, not every time bytecode will be generated. Bytecode will be generated only if your Python file is importing some other file. In such cases only bytecode will be generated for the file that is imported, but not for the original .py file. Let us say you have a .py file and in that .py file there is no import file, import statements. Okay, in such cases no bytecode will be generated. But if you have an import statement in your .py file, then bytecode will be generated for that particular imported file. Okay, just remember that point. Now we will see what happens during the compilation phase. The compiler takes the .py file as input and it breaks down the Python code into tokens, and it will convert the expressions present in the Python code to abstract syntax trees and parse trees, and checks for the grammar and see if it is violating the grammar specified by the Python. If there are any violations present, then compiler will throw the syntax errors. So that is what happens during the compilation. And once the compilation is successful, your code will be sent to Python virtual machine, and here the execution happens, interpretation happens in a line by line fashion. Okay, and you will be getting output. So this is all about interpreter. Interpreter in Python can be CPython, which is written in C and Python, or Jython, written in Java and Python, or PyPy, which is written in RPython. Okay, now what is CPython? So CPython is actually an implementation of the specs provided by Python. That means even though the specs are provided in Python language, the implementation is done in both C and Python. Okay, this is the most extensively used interpreter right now. Okay, and all the libraries that are present, okay, are compatible with C Python. So it is the most extensively used interpreter, and almost all the Python libraries and modules are compatible with C Python. And coming to PY, okay, here we have seen PY is written in R Python, so restricted Python. So it is claimed to be faster than C Python. Yes, it is. I mean, it is actually 4 times more faster than C Python because it uses just-in-time compiler. So what this just-in-time compiler will do? Let us say your Python code contains 100 lines of code, and out of which only 30 lines of code take more amount of time. Then this just-in-time compiler will convert those 30 lines of code into byte code, and the remaining 70 lines of code will be interpreted. So more time will be taken for those 70 lines for interpretation, and these 30 lines of code are first converted into byte code. So it will actually decrease the execution time. So that is why it is said to be more time saving interpreter. But problem with PyPy is like it is not compatible with all the machines, and another problem is like it is not compatible with all the available libraries. It is a faster evolving interpreter, but it takes some more time to become more popular. For now we can go with C Python only instead of PyPy. Yes, not every module is compatible with PyPy. Yes, it is actually faster than C Python, but what is the problem? Not every module is compatible with PyPy. What is a global interpreter lock? Global interpreter lock is a mechanism to prevent simultaneous threads accessing the same Python code. Here you can relate these threads to the cores of your CPU. Let us say you have 4 cores in your CPU, and let us say your Python code is being interpreted in one of the core. Then the second core of your CPU cannot access this particular Python code because that particular Python code is locked by the global interpreter lock. Okay, so your execution does not depend upon the number of cores you have in your CPU, because every time only one core of CPU can process the Python code. Okay, let us say out of there are suppose 100 lines of Python code, and out of 100 lines 3 lines of Python code being interpreted. Fourth line of code cannot be interpreted by the second CPU core. No, that also need to be interpreted by the first core of the CPU only. So your performance of the Python program cannot be increased simply by increasing the number of cores in the CPU. Now we will be discussing the differences between Python, Java and C++. Okay, as we discussed earlier, Python requires less development time to complete a task because the number of lines required to complete a task is also less in case of Python. Requires comparatively more development time to complete a task in Java. And one more thing, Python has vast library support. So the features that you want to develop might have been already developed in some of the libraries. So even that way, your Python requires less development time to complete a task. Then coming to C++. So yes, when compared to Python and Java, C++ requires far more development time to complete a task. Okay, the next thing is like Python is a dynamically typed language. So what is dynamic typed language? So consider an expression like a equal to 10. Okay, b equal to Balaji. A equal to 10 in the sense 10 is an integer. When I say b equal to Balaji, Balaji is a string. But Python cannot know that a is an integer and b is a string at compile time. It will be able to know only during interpretation, only during the execution time, but not at the compilation time. So that is why it is called dynamically typed language. I repeat, I say a equal to 10 and b equal to Balaji. So a is an integer and b is a string, but Python has no knowledge that a is a integer and b is a string at compile time. It will be able to know, it will do the type checking that it is an integer and it is a b is a string and a is an integer only at runtime. So that is why it is a dynamically typed language. So Java is a statically typed language. That means type checking of data happens at compilation time. So let us say a equal to 10 and b equal to Balaji. That means it will be able to know that a is an integer and b is a string at compilation phase only, but not at runtime. Same case with C++ also. So C++ will be able to know that a is an integer and b is a string at compilation phase only. In case of Python, execution takes comparatively more time because it is an interpreted language. You can also say that even Java is an interpreted language, but why Python takes more time? Because it is dynamically typed as well. That means type checking of data happens at runtime, and this type checking at runtime contributes to total execution time. So when compared to Python, Java is comparatively faster, and when compared to Java, C++ is far more faster. What is pip? Pip is nothing but Python package manager. What it will do? It will download libraries from third party repositories into your local machine. I mean, not just downloading, it will also install those libraries in your local machine. So there is repository called Python packaging index. It is pronounced as PyPI. So it is a third party repository. So from this repository, the packages will be downloaded and installed in your local machine using the pip command. So let us say you have a library called library1. If you want to download that library1 from PyPI, then you can say something called pip install library1. Of course, that library1 needs to be present in the PyPI repository. Then only it gets downloaded and installed in the local machine. So that is about pip. So pip is nothing but a package manager, Python package manager, to download and install libraries from the third party repositories. The latest stable version of Python is 3.10.0. It doesn't mean that you need to right away go and install it. No, it is not like that. You can actually wait for 4 more months to install it. You can actually work with your current stable version, not at all a problem. And you can download the Python versions from this particular location, www.python.org/downloads. Okay, and all the bugs related to Python will be logged here, bugs.python.org. Is Python backward compatible? Let us say you are working on a project and it is built on Python 2.7. Okay, now you want to upgrade your Python to 3.7. Do you think that your project will still work if you upgrade it to 3.7? Definitely it might work or might not work. In most of the cases it might not actually work, because the libraries that you used in 2.7, okay, might not be compatible with the Python 3.7 version, because Python is not backward compatible. So that is the reason there are some companies who are actually still working with 2.7 and they are taking some considerable amount of time to migrate to 3.0 versions. Okay, so Python is not backward compatible. So this is all about today's session. Tomorrow we will be discussing on getting started with Python coding. Thank you. Watching videos is not enough. You need to develop projects on your own, and I can help you with that. I have 10 years of experience developing web applications, and I can help you build too. You can join our training program where we help you develop projects on your own.